Okay, we're replacing receptacles in a kitchen. We've already shut the power off. You're coming in. We're replacing the breakers in the panel with AFCI, GFCI dual function breakers. Since we are in the kitchen area and we're replacing receptacles and switches, we need to bring the current wiring up to code, which is AFCI, GFCI protection in the kitchen. So, a few things I'm doing here. Pulling out, verifying, because you never know in an older house if somebody tied something together, maybe you're getting a back feed, etc. I always have a garbage bag below me and a bucket for debris, kind of clean as you go. We are see, these are stabbed in the back. That's not what I like to do. You can actually see if I can put some pressure on these. You can actually get them to pull out. So that's not something I do with new installations. I will save as much as I can on the length because right here they're already tight. We have a minimum 6 inches of conductor from where it enters the box. That allows us to get our hands on it and work with it. So we're not trying to work with 2 or 3 inches of wire. I can back bend that out. So they got the grounds twisted together with the ground clamp. We have shorter wires. And what I'm doing is, since we have a new install, I always like to clean your box out, organize my wires the way I'm going to make them up, So this actually works out pretty good. What I've already done is I've put pigtails on the receptacle, tighten the screws down. The unused screws I tighten up, and then I put a little bit of tape around the outside to add just an extra layer of protection. They're going to be leaving off the covers because they're going to be painting. They're doing some finishing on the walls, so we don't want that to get in the way. But what I do is I like to tie everything together and not utilize the receptacle as the point of attachment. And for this, we have I'm going to go ahead and use, got a wire nut, and we also have lever locks where you put your wires in here, open and close. These do work, they are nice, but I do prefer, these are especially nice if it's a very difficult spot and your wires are short and you can't get to them, to utilize a wire nut. They're rated, they are good for protection. Also, if there's any paint on the ground conductor from the previous install, like when they were painting the walls and they were not protected, scrape it off with a fingernail, strippers, knife or something. I like to line the wires up, line the ends up, and go ahead and hold them until I get a good 2-3 twists coming down the wire nut. Typically it is habit that when I disconnect anything, I disconnect hot, neutral, ground. It's just good practice. And when you hook things up, you hook it up ground, neutral, hot. Even though this is receptacles are shut off, the circuits are shut off, it's just good to practice that. Every time you're doing something, if you do that, it becomes similar to muscle memory, and you are not going to make as many mistakes. They happen, but the more effort you put to mitigate those hazards, the better you're going to be. So, got these on, twisted up, a couple good twists. Like, these aren't coming off. This is not coming out. So I want to manipulate the wires to where they're going to fold in nice and clean, give me the maximum amount of room so they're not pushing on the receptacle. So the simple rolling technique into the back, I don't know how well I'm working on my camera skills, so please bear with me. But you roll them into the back, then you have your receptacle. There's plenty of room in here. These boxes are designed to have more than 3 inches of wire in them. So this box there is a little ledge right here. Difference from the wall finish to the box. That's where these little guys come in. These are called caterpillars, device levelers, etc. You can just tear them, and they have a little groove in them. That slides right around this screw. This one's pretty close to the finish, but I like to put these on because it does keep your devices flush to the surface. After a lot of plugging things in and out, your devices can get loose because the ears need the sheetrock, and when your sheetrock is broken away, it's nice to give it that little extra support. In the long run, it will be noticed. So I like to start my screws of the receptacles in, and that's when, if your receptacle's tweaked one way or another, you can, this is pretty well straight on, but you can always grab here and twist it, and that will straighten out your connection. So when your wire or your device snugs up tight to the wall, it's nice and flush and square and does not look funny with the plate. So this one, I'm going to show you this. The top one is a little farther out than the bottom. So that's what's nice about these little caterpillars. You just clip another one right over there. They'll stick together. And now when it tightens down, you should be just right. So as I do a final tightening, just kind of squaring it up, getting it vertical. You know. So we have installed the AFC, GFCI devices back at the panel. So these are protected. That's why I can do what I'm doing, tie it in. We're also utilizing tamper-proof receptacles, which give you that little shutter. It's very hard to tell on the camera, but there's a little shutter in here, a little piece of plastic. So when all the prongs are getting pushed in for the hot and neutral from the device, it helps those shutters just move off to the side, but it helps foreign objects from getting stuck in the receptacle, you know, coming up here, and it provides protection. The shutter pushes back a little bit, but it's not allowing an insertion of a fork or a knife or a little piece of metal, example, a piece of wire. So gives you another level of protection for your little ones and whatnot. We're going to go ahead and leave the covers off. That's another reason why I tape the receptacle, because these are going to be exposed. There are going to be gentlemen coming in to finish the walls and paint, and they're going to be masking off here, but there's always that chance that you bump into the side, or your finger gets caught, or it's one more thing that you can do to help help the next guy. And if there's a little piece of rock that's sticking out, you can always level that, and that's what the backs are for. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to do this about 5 more times in here, and I will see you on the next one.